Hello Media Award and welcome to my review for the 2013 remake of Carrie. Got my chance to watch it earlier today on Netflix, being one of the new movies onto that service. A little background information for you folks. The film is an adaptation of the Stephen King novel Carrie. The first movie version of it was back in 1978, which was known as a cult classic movie. I haven't seen that movie in a very long time, so I don't know what my opinion stands on it, but people seem to love it and cherish it as, you know, a cult classic for what the movie does, especially back in the 70s, where of course the early days of horror, as I like to say, really, back in that time. And of course they did a TV version back in 2002, and the most modern adaptation is the 2013 version. The film stars Julianne Moore and Chloe Grace Moretz, which was two really good, fantastic actors, and I was really excited to see this movie, especially back in 2013. The trailers look really good. I was hoping they were going to do a different take upon the actual movie from maybe the book and the actual original 70s movie, and do a different spin up on it. It's been a year now, obviously, since that movie has been released. I've held it off for a good reason, for sure. Didn't go to cinema to see it after the bad reviews and people really slagging it off and really hating it and saying it was, the most quoted word is unnecessary, which I can definitely understand that for sure. And I think for people who love the book or love the 70s movie, you don't really need to see it, I suppose. That is one interpretation of it. I think both films are very different in their own right. Even the book it's something completely different as its own right. Anyway, they do different things, they do different decisions, and a few has a more about the powers, and the others more about the build-up of that scene. So I suppose as a person, it is down to what do you want from a Carrie story, really. I think personally there were some missed opportunities in this movie, if I'm being absolutely honest. In terms of like the final act, I felt it could have been maybe something else, could be a bit more of a happier ending maybe. Even though it's a bit cliche to say that, but you know, I just felt like with a remake you got a chance to do something a little different. Don't do something which, if the original audience from the 70s have seen or the book have seen, put a different spin up on it, exactly, or do your own take or something. You know, if it's a remake, then you gotta do something a little different. The Fright Night remake did something completely different. Took the same original concept story from the original movie, did something completely different, made it modernised, did a different ending, different this, different that, took a different spin up on it. This one did do its own thing in some places, but a lot of the scenes were more reimagined, you know, takes upon the original classic scenes from the original 70s movie, which is fine, but it's like, you know, you don't really need to do that. You know, the most original scenes out of the entire movie I felt in this remake was more of the powers, which for someone like me, I like my powers and I like my really cool kind of flying stuff, especially in horror. And you know, of course, for Friday the 13th, you know, with New Blood, and of course the most recent movie, which is Awesome Chronicle, which this film feels like a chronicle type movie in a sense. Yeah, another person who has abilities and, you know, trying to you know, make sense of it. She kind of feels like the same character, Andrew, from that movie, which makes me laugh quite a bit. They did try to do a little bit of a weak explanation of like where possibly these powers come from in like a couple of little dialogue scenes between her and Julianne Moore's character, but felt very brushed off and very like quickly get out of the way quickly kind of thing, that kind of explanation. And you don't really need one, I suppose, because you know what the film is going to be about, you know what's going to happen in it. The classic scene, the prom scene, everyone knows that. Even people that probably haven't even heard of Carrie before probably knows it from the trailer anyway, what's going to happen. And you know, is the film actually any good? That's the main thing, I would say, for most people. And I think, yeah, it's pretty decent. It's nothing mind-blowing, but it does have some worthwhile scenes in it for sure, and definitely some creative imaginary with the whole idea of the powers and very chronicle style in that sense. It comes down to a simple case of, do you want to stick with the 70s movie, which basically is more of an intense movie. It has more of a, the actress that played Carrie, I felt, was much more kind of like a vulnerable person, I thought more, and definitely when it built up to that finale act within the prom scene, I felt it was a massive rage, kind of like, you know, I'm gonna wipe out everyone, I'm gonna kill everyone, kind of like just a massive psycho act scene. And it definitely does do that within the original, and that even the 70s movie today, it still holds that kind of tension, that scene, and it just grips you as an actual audience member. This movie, it doesn't grip you, it doesn't actually, you know, grab you by the throat. Basically, it lightly taps you with that. The scene is more like a ooh, cool powers movie kind of thing. That's what I felt it was more about than anything. I felt the performances were decent enough. I felt Julianne Moore's character as the extremely religious mother was definitely one of the best performances out of the entire movie. Chloe Grace Moretz's adaptation of Carrie's character wasn't as strong as the original 70s version, that's for damn sure. Mainly for the fact that she is, even though she's trying to do this kind of like, you know, not very nice clothes, hair down, looking back, kind of thing, that kind of shy innocent girl, kind of high school type thing, she still is attractive enough to not be, you know, as kind of like a hated person in the school as it is in a sense. So I think she plays a vulnerability to the character, especially from probably a religious mother who basically isn't allowed to do anything, or, you know, so you have to come back straight after, you know, high school, and, you know, you have to go out and pray, go to your room, kind of thing like that, make sure you pray for your sins and shit like that, practically. So I definitely felt there was a baggage to her character, and it definitely was a build-up in that sense of like she was really pierced definitely towards that final act, that third act, when she goes full on mental in a sense. And I did like the fact that she was exploring her abilities a little bit more than probably the original did, in terms of going on YouTube and finding out what's going on, how she controls abilities. And overall, I would say Carrie the remake is decently well made. It's got some really good, you know, idea with the powers, and got some good imagination with that side of it. The performances between Julianne Moore and Carrie Grace Moretz is pretty well done. I really enjoyed the performances. There's not very much I can say that was bored or anything. For an hour and 40-odd minute movie, did exactly what I wanted to see. I felt there was some missed opportunity, especially towards the ending, and trying to do something a little bit different. I felt the original reimagining of some of the classic scenes from the original movie was very unnecessary, very pointless. Why bother doing that? The original's done it, the original does it really well. Why try and recreate that? I felt the modern and kind of pop culture references were kind of shined over a little bit again, much like the explanations of the powers and the background of what she is practically, Carrie, and her mother is. So, you know, it's a case of, what do you want more? Do you want more of a 70s kind of like more of a slow burner, more of a tense atmosphere movie that builds up to a full-on massive revenge kind of, you know, bloodbath in a sense, or do you want more of a kind of teen drama kind of, you know, chronicle horror movie, which, you know, it can be easily forgettable in that sense. So that's been my review for Carrie. I hope you enjoyed watching this review. What do you think of the movie? Do you think it's good? Do you think it's bad? Alternate opinions. What do you think of the original 70s movie for sure? Comment down below. So in the meantime, I'm TV. Signing out.